Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of the WERKin Mommas podcast. I am your host, Nikki Winston, and today I just want to take a virtual coffee break with y'all and just have a quick conversation about careers and where you are at this point in your career and how to elevate yourself and position yourself to move up in whatever position or function that you work in. So I am a career expert on LinkedIn. I am one of the people that answer questions about careers or jobs where other people on LinkedIn have questions. They might be new grads. They might be transitioning to a new role or a new industry. And they tend to ask questions like, well, I'm looking to get a job in this field. How do I go about doing that? Or I want to be a manager, or how do I move up in my role? Things of that nature. So I wanted to stop real quick, take a virtual coffee break and just share some info and answer a question that I got on LinkedIn earlier this week. Before I jump into the question, Virtual Coffee Break is the name of my blog, actually, over at www.nickwinston.com. And I am actually somebody who drinks coffee maybe once a month, but I love what Virtual Coffee Break means. Essentially, you're catching up with somebody, just saying hello, sharing a few updates. You probably have a couple questions that you want to get some feedback or some guidance on. So I want to answer this question that I received. I did respond to the person that sent me the question, but I thought it was a great opportunity for me to expound on my answer to her in hopes that I can help somebody else who may be looking for another job or trying to figure out how do you elevate yourself and get to that next level in your career. So in this case, the person asked me specifically about accounting. She said, what's the best way for me to move up in accounting? And I answered her question from an accounting perspective, but a lot of these tips that I'm about to share are really applicable to any industry that you're in. I choose accounting as my niche because that's my background. That's what I love. That's what I do. That's what I know. But if you work in sales, IT, teaching, construction, wherever you work, these are some universal things that you can apply to your career today and really get yourself in a position to be successful and get to where you want to be. So the first thing I told her is to learn everything. Everything. As accountants, we don't make the news. We just report it. It can be tough to record transactions that you don't fully understand. I can almost guarantee in your career, you will come across a situation where somebody hands you something to record expecting you will just do it. It has happened to me so many times. Hey, Nicole, somebody comes, drops a piece of paper, supporting documentation or whatever on my desk to say, hey, can you record this entry for me in this period? Thanks. And I'm like, no, wait, hold on. Give me the backstory. Help me understand why I'm recording this entry. What is going on? Where did this come from? And what impact is this going to have on the financial statements? So make sure you know what you're doing for a couple of reasons. First, not knowing what you're doing can get you in trouble. You can be recording erroneous or even questionable transactions. And if your user ID is linked to that transaction, as is the case with most ERP systems, who do you think the auditors are going to come see first when they have a question? You, because your name is on the entry. So don't become the yes person. Don't become that person that people just drop all their random adjusting entries and stuff off to because they know you're going to book it without question. Don't do that. Also, learning everything helps you understand more as you're looking to grow in your career. It'll make your progression from a junior or senior level up to a managerial level that much easier. When you get to the point where you're beyond just debiting an expense and crediting a payable, but you're understanding how you're impacting the financials. That's where you want to get to. Secondly, I told her, get active in your community, in your company, and in your industry. Community, that just goes without saying. I just feel like everybody should give something back for all that we have, whether you're doing whatever in your community, Meals on Wheels or mentoring, whatever. I think that we all should give something back to the communities in which we live and work. Get active in your company. A lot of companies these days have affinity groups or some type of internal organizations for employees to network and get to know each other and provide professional development opportunities. So definitely take advantage of those. In your industry, if you work in accounting, if you work in sales, if you work in tech, then you should be reading up or studying up on things that are happening every single day. Again, this helps your learning, but also a lot of your execs, your senior leadership, these are the things that they're looking at. This is what they're reading. So these can be great conversation starters if you have an opportunity to get some FaceTime with them, and it shows that you really know your stuff, which always look good. The next thing is to be successful. Be you. Be authentically you. I can't stress that enough. Just don't fall into this cycle of trying to be somebody that you're not. Now, working in corporate America, you're going to have to fall in line on some things. Me, I love distressed jeans, and I knew that it doesn't matter how cool or lax my company was, distressed jeans would never be acceptable. So, okay, totally fine with me. I have plenty of work clothes and pencil skirts and dresses and things that I could wear, but those types of things you're going to have to flex on in corporate America. But I'm talking about being authentically you, being yourself, not morphing into this other person just because of a job title that you have or a company that you work for. This next one. To be successful, to move up, be ready and willing to take those not so sexy jobs. My first job after I graduated from college at the Maxim Fisher College of Business at The Ohio State University was a financial analyst. I was in manufacturing. After a couple of weeks, I was doing my job as a financial analyst, but I was also doing the job of the payroll manager. The payroll manager got sick. She went out on medical leave unexpectedly, ended up being out for several months. But folks still had to get paid. The folks in the office, the folks in the plant. So I had to step up, figure out how to do it, and get it done. Now, at the time, I'm 22 years old. I'm trying to figure out how to be a professional versus being a college student. And my transition from college life to a professional felt like it took nanoseconds because of that experience. But I learned a lot. On top of doing the payroll, I ended up working with the inventory manager on inventory and production. I worked a little bit with shipping and receiving and going through the bill of ladings and auditing that and make sure that what we actually purchased is what we actually received. And I learned a lot. I asked a lot of questions and I was curious and I didn't care what it took. I had to leave my pumps at home and trade them in for some steel toe boots because I was working on site at a manufacturing facility. Sometimes I had to go out there and have conversations with plant personnel and talk about inventory that came in or production or what went wrong or downtime and all that good stuff. So like I said before, it is hard to book journal entries if you don't know conceptually what you are doing. So the fact that I was going out there talking to those guys and really understanding operationally what was going on, it made it much easier for me to book my entries and to do my job. And lastly, own your career. All the praises, all the bumps, and all the bruises that come along with it. It feels good to get recognized and to get promoted and all of that. But when shit gets real, you have to be ready to own all of it. The last thing you want to do is point a finger at a boss, a colleague, a mentor, or somebody else when it comes to your career mishaps. There is something super invigorating about accountability. I listened to one of Gary Vee's podcasts the other day, and he talked about accountability and self-awareness and just how much of a beautiful thing that is. And I have to agree, when you are in charge of your failures and your successes, it is a beautiful thing. I have made many mistakes in my career, celebrated many wins, but also made many mistakes. And I can't recall not one mistake that felt good. But I couldn't put the blame on anybody but myself for whatever went wrong. I learned early in that first job, having my ass handed to me multiple times by my boss is really what led me to develop some thick skin. A lot of things that I learned from her, I still apply to this day in my career. And I didn't get it at first. I felt like she was trying to torture me. I thought she was being a complete bitch, but it turns out she was grooming me and setting me up for success. And it took me a while to receive that, but I so appreciate her for that. Now, you will be questioned in your career. You will be criticized. You'll probably be thrown under the bus, but you just have to take that and keep it moving. Most times, and operative word, most times, it's about business and it's not a personal attack on you. Accountants, we are serious about accounting. I've been on both ends of this spectrum where I've thrown some people under the bus early in my career, but then I learned that, okay, there may still be situations where I have to throw people under the bus, but now I do it in private to their faces and not to other people. Because I've been thrown under the bus in a large conference room in a big important meeting with execs and board members and C-suites, and it does not feel good. So I would never want anybody to feel that way. I just say, take it with a grain of salt and keep it moving. So that's it for now. Thank you all for tuning in. I did create a career clarity guide for those of you in the job market, whether you're preparing for interviews or if you just want to refresh your skills and take inventory of your experience. This guide has some steps to take before you even start going online and searching and posting to jobs. There's also a couple of interview questions that you can take with you to your interview and ask the hiring manager. So you can download it on my Instagram. My handle is Nick Winston at NIKKWINSTON. The guide is free $99. I selected the questions that are in the guide so that they can help you make the right decision on your next job, so that you don't end up in a company that's not aligned to your goals. So again, go to my Instagram at Nick Winston, NIKKWINSTON. Click the free career clarity guide link in my bio. Join my career development list, and I'll share with you more tips and experiences to help you elevate your brand. Thank you for listening. Appreciate you all. Look forward to chatting with y'all on the next episode. And until then, have an amazing day.